As you can see, I've got my little helper here, Sifa, in the background. He's just still getting used to the bus. He seems to really be liking it. He loves sitting in the sun. His favourite spot's actually just up there on the dashboard, on the dash mat. Seems to be his favourite spot in the sun. Look at all the birds and do his little macking thing. Anyway, enough distractions. We're going to be installing a CB radio. I say we, but me and Sifa are going to be installing a CB radio today. We're going to go through just a quick couple of bits and bobs about what I've got, and then we'll just run through really nice and simple. It's not going to be a 20-minute video, just how to install a CB radio to a Toyota Coaster. Obviously, it's going to apply to most vehicles, but there's a couple of intricacies with the Coaster being 24 volt and the radio being 12. So I'll show you through the parts and how to get it installed. Let's go. So these are the parts for the UHF install that we're going to be doing. As you can see, we've got our radio here. So this is an XRS Connect. It's an XRS 370C. There's no pretty box here because I've ripped it out of a four-wheel drive that I've owned for a long, long time. Fun fact, I owned an FJ Cruiser, ran two FJ Cruiser car clubs for about 8 years. So this has come out of the FJ because it is about $700 and I really didn't want to buy another one. So there's that, which has all of the buttons on the handle. As you can see, it's got a few little cool buttons we'll go into later. It's got a little magnetic on the mount on the back, which attaches to this guy, which goes on the dashboard. We've got the wiring kit for the radio, which has its own little fuse there, and that's just going to get extended and popped into the 12 volt converter that's under the dash. We'll show you that later. This is a 4.5 dBi aerial, so right in the middle of your sort of 2.1s and 6s, so it's a bit more for highway driving, but to be honest with the bus, that's more where it's going to be living. We're not going to be, unless we're in Tasmania, and it'll do fine in Tasmania anyway. We've got a couple of grommets, and then we've got our bracket that I'm going to be using to attach the the aerial to the mirror, and then a couple of bits over there that we're not actually going to be using. So now let's get all of this into the bus. No, still not working. All right, let's go. Actually, here's a little blooper reel. Look at who we've got just sitting over here having a little bit of a watch in the background over there in his favourite little sunny spot. I see you. So this is where we're going to be mounting the bracket. So I've got to drill a hole through the centre of the bracket just in there, and then another hole here, and then boop, 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 mount it on. So it's bloody windy, so hopefully you're going to hear that, but that's the hole drilled. I don't have a drill press. I'm doing this at home, but we made a hole. Lots of drilling later. We've got our 4 holes, and then I've drilled this one on quite a steep angle actually. Goes all the way through the mirror there, and then you'll see it pops out. Hang on, focus. Pops out there on quite a big angle to not go into the motor, and then that is going to be running into the factory wiring plug just here, which is for the mirror, and then run into the cab. Filming. You'll see in here, we've got our bracket on, the bolt's done up, we've got a little bit of cable conduit. I do need to put a tiny little black zip tie on each end of that, but really we're happy with how almost factory that looks. It's just nice and subtle. Now for the fun bit, that's why the radio in. Right, it's Melbourne. It's now started to rain. We had almost 100-kilometre winds before, weather warnings everywhere. And just as I finished fitting the aerial, it started to rain. I've got my little buddy here sitting there. He's just watching birds out the window. But as you can see, this is from about the driver's seat perspective. The aerial sits just to the left of the mirror, and in the mirror you can just see it on the very right-hand side of the mirror looking down the bus there. The cable's been run through. That's not it, that's actually the boost cable I'm going to be wiring in a second as well. The cable comes out, and I've got it popped out here at the moment just on the floor, so I'm going to be running both the cables through the dashboard. The boost gauge is going to keep going that way, but the unit we're going to put probably in there, and then we'll figure out where the handle goes. I don't want to mount it to the screws that someone already did. I'm probably going to mount the handle here. I don't know, we'll work on that in a minute. Let's get into it. After a few minutes of wiring and tidying and getting rid of Japanese wiring that's been added to the bus, down here, nice and clean. These are just the 2 factory looms for the converter. This side here, that's the antenna and the power for the UHF, which is going to be sitting here. so much neater. That's why. That's all the stuff that's come out. None of that was needed. None. All bad. Gone. So underneath the radio in this section here, so I'll just go over here. This one here, this is a little 5 amp 24 to 12 volt converter. I've actually got it unplugged right now, and I've run the bus. The clock still works. Everything here seems to work. I don't know even what it's plugged into. It's got 2 wires in, 2 wires out. Anyway, 5 amps. Wouldn't even, it'd probably just power the subwoofer. That's it. So I'm sitting here going, okay, well, what am I going to do? So I've done a little bit of digging, and now behind the radio wiring here, I actually traced this back because I realized 2 wires here means my radio wire is not plugged into this. And with my multimeter here that I've been playing with, I've got 12 volt at this plug when this is unplugged, which tells me there's another converter, much like the constant chase for the GPS trackers in this bus. Anyway, I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll show you. I found it, and the thing's massive. So ignore all the mess. It does get tidier in a minute. All right, so deep down under here, so way at the back, it's hard to see in there, but down here at the back, it's about 25 centimeters by about 15 centimeters and probably 6 centimeters thick. There is another voltage converter. Now, doing some quick Googling with the part number that's on it, because there's no specs on it, sadly, it does say bus 24 to 12 volt voltage converter, no specs. But asked around, can't seem to find any specs. However, I've just tested everything. It can run everything flawlessly. So it's obviously got a heck of a lot more than 5 amps. And the thing is probably 8 or 9 times bigger than the 5 amp one. So it's got some power to it. So just know, if you're going to do this, you've got, I'll show you the plugs in a second. There is actually a second one, and I'll show you the wires at the back of the head unit, the colors you need to access that one, and then you can run everything to that, and nice and simple, you've got 12 volt at the front and quite a lot of it, not the little 5 amp one. Winning, nice and easy. All right, I'll show you that little bit now, okay? This is the wiring coming from the 12 volt converter just on my finger here. Goes down to this plug here, which goes into my audio unit. Now I've tapped and soldered into these 3 wires here. So the 3 wires are pretty simple. The brown one, which is your first one, that is your earth. Then your grey one is your accessory, and the red one is constant 12 volt. So depending on where you want to wire your radio in, you'll wire it into either accessory or constant 12 volt. Each has an advantage. Obviously on accessory, it'll turn off when you turn the vehicle off, and if you leave it on 12 volt, it'll stay on when you turn off the vehicle, so you can use it without the vehicle running. It's just how good you are at remembering to turn the radio off each time. So plug into either of those for your positive, and the negative into the brown one, which you probably already have for your audio unit. After much messing about, I have it fitted in this bottom piece. Now, I did try and fit the unit in behind here, underneath it, above it. Underneath it would have been perfect, but getting it in there just would have taken hours and hours, and even then I don't know if I could actually do it. So I'm going to go with the original idea, which was Fip's idea of just mounting it in this thing, which is sort of taking away my phone cubby, but I'll fix that later, and just mount it in there with its aerial and connections like that. So that's how it is. Let's get this in there. And as I go, just one little thing, I always give everything a bit of a clean. Everything's come out dirty and dusty when you pull it out. So everything in here has all been cleaned as I go. For that piece there, it does with 2 screws. You just cut the back off it with an angle grinder is all I did, and then slot it through, screw it in. Now we've got the power line in, we've got the antenna in. Now the antenna cable, don't crimp it. I've just looped it round in the back there a couple of times and given it a little zip tie just to hold it together. This plug here is actually for the first gear lock on the gearbox. I'll plug that in and then pop him back in, and let's get him in and see what he looks like. All right, before I put all the trim pieces back on, not that they're hard to get off, but I thought I'd just give it a go. The radio's obviously turned on up there. Let's hit the power button and see if, hey, that's success for me. Straight into open scan, that's how I left it. Cool. All right, let's get everything buttoned up and then we'll go through what this thing can do. All right, I'm almost done, or actually very close to being done with the radio install. Now the trick. This is very personal preference. Where do you mount the handle? So with some people, they like to have it up here with the cable dangling down. So you just grab it, torque, not too bad. I sort of thought down next to the gear shifter could be cool down here. There's nowhere really to mount it here.
which is a bit annoying. And if you did, the cable sits down next to your knee. It's pretty horrible, because my knee already leans against this little shelf here anyway. Or thigh, I should say. Thigh? Thigh?
Thigh.
No. Yeah, thigh.
Shin.
Calf. That's
Shin.
calf. Move. Anyway, so I've got the shifter where it would be. It's in drive right now, even though the bus is off. And I'm thinking it's a little bit of a lean, but there is where I'm going to put it. It's a little bit of a reach, but so is the radio. And to be honest, when I'm talking on it, I'll probably have it sitting here. That's usually how I used to use it while I was on the FJ. I just have it sitting on my leg. Can't do that with a mobile phone. Can do that with this. Go figure. Now, with the mount, you do get in this little box here, little GME mount box thing. You do get all of these bits. You get
goodies.
Get 2 screws, which we won't be using. You get a magnetic mount thing for the handle if you so need it. We don't. I've already got one. And then you get the magnetic mount base, which does really, really well clack onto the radio.
It's a good clack.
It holds bloody well, I can tell you that. And then 3M tape. I'm going to mount it with 3M tape. I was getting it out of the FJ. That's why I've had to buy a new one, because this has held that on so damn well. I was worried about breaking the trim it was mounted to remove this. So new. Let's mount it up there. A couple of the cool things with the radio here, you can obviously set up your standard scan, which is 75 channel at the moment. I will get rid of some. You can actually get rid of all of the repeaters and things like that, so it just scans a lot less channels. It also has priority, which obviously hit it goes back to whatever your priority channel at the moment is 40, because we're at bus, and that's nice and simple. Button at the top, that one there will play back the last up to 5 radio calls, which is pretty cool if you miss one because the radio was on or something. And then actually my favorite one is this little guy here. It's XRS. So if I scale down to 39 and I hit that, what it's going to do is say DW right here, which is dual watch with the 2 little arrows. It's actually listening to 39 and 40 at the same time, and we'll play both radio channels, whatever's talking at the time. So you can have your convoy on one, and then obviously listening to the road channel on the other, or if you're off-road, you can have the Rangers channel, etc. So just some cool stuff. It does a whole heap of other stuff as well, but they're the features I find myself using the most. So that there, guys, is how you install an XRS Connect radio into a Toyota Coaster, or pretty much any vehicle, to be perfectly honest. So hopefully you found it interesting and relevant to yourself. If you've got a couple of questions, pop them down below. I'm more than happy to try and answer them. If you'd like to, give the video a like. Costs you nothing. Also, you can click the subscribe button and find out what I'm doing next with this cool coaster. So the build must continue. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. We appreciate every single one of you, and hope to catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.